Hey everyone, it's Kai, and I'm really excited about today's video. We're diving deep into the world of Mark Twain, a writer who honestly everyone knows. But even though he's considered one of America's greatest writers, sometimes I feel like we forget how funny he was, how clever his observations about people were. So we're going to explore some of his best quotes about writing, because everyone loves a good quote about writing, right? But more importantly, we're going to see how those quotes reflect his own life and work. Because Twain didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk. And that's what made him so insightful. And to top it off, we're going to look into some of his most famous books. And maybe, just maybe, we'll rediscover why his words still speak to readers over a century later. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's get started. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. Now, this is a quote you've probably seen everywhere, on posters and shared online. And you know what? It deserves all that attention because it's so simple, yet so meaningful. Think about it. How many times have you had a great idea, a story you wanted to tell, a project you were excited to start, but you just didn't? You got stuck, afraid to fail, overwhelmed by not knowing where to begin. Well, Mark Twain understands. He knows that the hardest part is often taking that first step. And once you do, once you overcome that first hurdle, the rest, while not always easy, becomes a little less scary. You see, Twain himself was great at getting started. He didn't wait for inspiration to hit him out of nowhere. He sat down every day and he wrote. He wrote even when he didn't want to, even when he thought what he was writing was terrible. Because he knew that the act of writing itself, of putting words on paper, was what was important. It was the process that unlocked the creativity, that led him to those amazing ideas, those unforgettable characters, those stories that would capture the hearts and minds of generations to come. And that's the great thing about this quote. It's not just about achieving some big goal. It's about the power of doing something, of simply beginning. It's a reminder that a journey of 1,000 miles or 1,000 pages starts with a single step, a single sentence, a single word. So the next time you find yourself stuck and putting things off, remember Mark Twain's words. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. Don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect plan, just start. Start writing, start creating, start doing. You might be surprised by where it takes you. The man who does not read has no advantage over the man who cannot read. Now, this quote might seem a little harsh at first, but trust me, Twain, as always, was right. In a world full of information where we're constantly bombarded with content from everywhere, it's easy to forget the simple but powerful act of reading. Think about it. Reading opens up new worlds. It lets us see things from other people's points of view, to have different experiences, to learn and grow in ways we never thought possible. It's a path to understanding others, to knowledge, to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. And today, where false information spreads quickly and critical thinking skills are so important, the ability to read, to truly understand and analyze information is crucial. It's how we form educated opinions, have meaningful conversations, and navigate the complexities of the digital age. Twain understood this. He knew that reading wasn't just a hobby, it was a necessity. It was the key to unlocking our full potential as individuals and as a society. And in a world where the written word is everywhere, from the news to social media, his words are truer than ever. So, what does it mean to truly read? It's not just about passively reading words on a page, it's about thinking about the text, questioning what we read, seeking out different points of view, and allowing ourselves to be challenged by new ideas. It's about recognizing the power of language to shape our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. And it's about using that power to become more informed, more engaged, and more empathetic citizens of the world. So the next time you pick up a book, an article, or even just a tweet, remember Mark Twain's words. Don't just read the words, absorb them. Let them make you curious, challenge your assumptions, and broaden your horizons. Because in a world that often feels increasingly divided, the act of reading, of truly engaging with different perspectives and ideas, might just be what we need to connect with each other and build a more understanding and compassionate future. Chapter 3. The Discipline of Genius. Inside Mark Twain's writing routine. Let's talk about how Mark Twain wrote. You might picture a dimly lit study, a roaring fire, maybe a glass of whiskey on the desk. While Twain enjoyed his comforts, his writing process was not romantic at all. It was incredibly disciplined, almost like a soldier's routine in its precision. Twain understood that writing was also work. It required dedication, consistency, and a lot of time sitting and writing. A typical day for Twain. He'd wake up early, around 5 in the morning, and go straight to his desk. No distractions, just him and a blank page. He'd write for several hours straight, often not stopping until noon. He let the words flow, trusting that he could edit later. Afternoons were for reading, researching, and taking long walks in nature. Twain believed these activities were important for refreshing his creativity. Studies show that spending time in nature can boost creativity and improve focus. So if you're feeling stuck, step away from your desk and go for a walk. You might be surprised by the ideas that come to you. Evenings were for socializing, attending lectures, or relaxing with family. But he always made time to read before bed. Twain was an avid reader, believing that reading widely was essential for any writer. He once said, "The man who does not read good books has no advantage over the man who cannot read them." Twain lived by those words, reading books on many different subjects. His disciplined routine allowed him to produce a huge amount of work. He understood that inspiration is unpredictable, but discipline is reliable. Success in anything requires consistency and dedication. So remember Mark Twain's unwavering commitment to his craft. And maybe a bit of Twain's work ethic will rub off on you. Chapter 4. Down the Mississippi. A glimpse into the adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Let's take a journey now down the Mississippi River into the heart of one of America's most famous books, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. This isn't just a book, it's a cultural landmark, a coming-of-age story that deals with difficult themes of race, freedom, and morality in a flawed society. The passage we're going to explore takes us right into Huck's internal struggle. He's on the run with Jim, a runaway slave, and they're floating down the river looking for freedom. But Huck's conscience, shaped by the racism of his upbringing, is troubled. He's been taught that helping Jim is wrong, even a sin. Yet, as he spends more time with Jim, sees his humanity, his kindness, his desire for freedom, Huck begins to question everything he's ever been told. This internal conflict, this wrestling with societal norms and personal morality, is at the heart of what makes Huck Finn such a powerful and enduring character. Imagine the vastness of the river, the sun setting on the water, casting long shadows. Huck and Jim are alone, isolated from the world they know, forced to confront not only the physical challenges of their journey, but also the turmoil within their own hearts. Here's the passage. It was 15 minutes before I could work myself up to go and humble myself to a nigger, but I done it, and I weren't ever sorry for it afterwards neither. I didn't do him no more mean tricks, and I wouldn't done that one if I'd have knowed it would make him feel that way. In this short passage, we see a big change in Huck's perspective. He swallows his pride, his ingrained prejudice, and apologizes to Jim for a cruel trick he played on him. This act of humility, of recognizing Jim's humanity and his own capacity for cruelty, marks a turning point in Huck's moral development. It's a reminder that true growth often requires us to confront our own biases, to challenge the beliefs we were raised with, and to choose empathy and compassion over societal expectations. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is a complex and challenging book, one that continues to spark debate and discussion even today. But it's precisely this complexity, this willingness to grapple with difficult issues, that makes it such a vital and important book. Through Huck's journey, we're forced to confront our own prejudices, to question the stories we've been told, and to consider what it truly means to be free. And that's the power of great literature. It stays with us long after we've finished reading, prompting us to think critically, to engage with the world around us, and to strive to be better, more compassionate human beings. Chapter 5, Beyond the Humour, Mark Twain's sharp social commentary. We often think of Mark Twain as a humorist, and for good reason. His wit was sharp, his observations about human nature hilarious and insightful. But Twain was more than just a funny guy. He was a keen observer of society, a social commentator who used his platform to critique injustice, hypocrisy, and the often absurd nature of being human. One of the best examples of this is his essay, The Damned Human Race. Now, don't let the title scare you off. It's classic Twain, provocative, darkly humorous, and full of biting social commentary. In this essay, Twain takes aim at humanity's capacity for cruelty, greed, and self-destruction. He argues that humans are not, as we like to believe, the best part of creation, but rather, in his words, the lower animals. He supports this claim by comparing human behavior to that of various animals, highlighting our tendency for violence, greed, and senseless destruction. He points to war, slavery, and the exploitation of the weak as evidence of our flawed nature. He criticizes our obsession with material possessions, our willingness to exploit others for personal gain, and our capacity for senseless violence. But Twain's essay isn't just a cynical rant against humanity. It's a call to action, a plea for us to recognize our flaws and strive to be better. He challenges us to rise above our baser instincts, to embrace compassion, empathy, and reason. He reminds us that we have the capacity for great good, for kindness, for love, and for creating a more just and equitable world. But to do so, we must first acknowledge our shortcomings, confront our prejudices, and challenge the systems that perpetuate injustice. Twain's social commentary, though written over a century ago, remains strikingly relevant today. We still grapple with many of the same issues he addressed: war, inequality, racism, and the abuse of power. His words serve as a reminder that the fight for a more just and compassionate world is ongoing, and that each of us has a role to play in that fight. So the next time you encounter injustice, hypocrisy, or cruelty, remember Mark Twain's words. Don't be afraid to speak out, to challenge the status quo, to fight for what you believe in, because as Twain himself once said, the man who stands for nothing will fall for anything. Well, that was a journey through the mind of Mark Twain. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling inspired. Twain reminds us that words have immense power. They can make us laugh, make us think, and most importantly, make us feel deeply. If you enjoyed this exploration of Mark Twain's wisdom, hit that like button and subscribe for more literary adventures. And hey, let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Which Mark Twain quote or writing habit resonated with you the most? Let me know and let's learn from each other. Until next time, keep reading, keep writing, and keep those words flowing.